Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the United States. As he always has a way with words, he has talked about MAGA, Make America Great Again, Donald Trump's war cry or slogan for his campaign. And he says that given that we also have a slogan for Viksit Bharat, let's also talk about MEGA, Make India Great Again. And together we can create a mega that is a mega show of bilateral relationships. Under this, we have had a host of very headline grabbing deals and agreements between the two countries. We have already seen that President Donald Trump has agreed to extradite Tahawwur Rana, who is a prime accused in the 26/11 terror attacks in Mumbai in 2008. And ever since, he has been evading arrest by citing different, with the help of different provisions in American law. We also have some defense deals on the anvil. We need to deal with the tariff question because President Trump wants America to have an upper hand in all the export import trade relations it has with different countries. To discuss all this and more, we have with us former diplomat Rajiv Dogra, who has also served as an ambassador. Welcome to the show, Rajiv ji.
Thank you.
Other than the things I highlighted, something that comes to your mind, what is the one underlining aspect of this US visit by Prime Minister Modi?
Well, important visits, especially between countries as big as USA and India, do not have just one underlying or underlined issue. There are many issues that must have been discussed. There are many issues on which there may have been meeting of minds to 100%. There may have been some issues on which there may have been different points of view. So it is very, very difficult. In fact, it will be wrong to think in terms of only one underlying issue.
But Tahawwur Rana's proposed extradition, that is a big one, isn't it? Because for the past 17 years, maybe even many Indians, even including the victims, might have forgotten these deadly names, Tahawwur Rana, David Headley. And they used to be regularly on the news for the first 4 or 5 years after the 26/11 terror attacks. But now it seems Mr. Modi never forgot it. And he certainly brought this up, and I think Trump readily agreed.
Well, I think we must have our facts right. The judicial process of holding Rana in some respects responsible for what happened in Mumbai naturally had to follow its course. And as in India, as in other countries, and America also, there are many courts through which this legal process must go through. And a couple of months back, the final, the US legal process was given that yes, he can be extradited to India. So there were two steps. One was the legal step of ensuring and finding that he is indeed an accused who deserves to be punished. The second step in that process was whether the extradition request from India should be agreed to or not. That also required a number of procedures. So all those procedures were completed. Now it was just a formality of sending him back. So it is a question of logistics. That logistics, Indian officials and US officials will discuss together now and bring him back. But this is not the end of the story. This is not the end of the story because Headley, who was the mastermind really of this episode in America, he needs to be brought back. And there, the real test would be whether American intelligence agencies would cooperate.
I was coming to the question of David Headley, especially because for the first few years after the 26/11 attacks, it was repeatedly reported that Headley is a double agent. He was working for two forces, two inimical forces, so to speak. So there is a chance of American confidential information coming out from even Tahawwur Rana because he was working, in connivance. He was complicit and he was, in a nexus with David Headley.
Well, I'm not in the intelligence business. I'm in the diplomatic business, or was
Right, of course.
diplomatic business. So I would not like to speculate as to what
Hmm.
information Rana may have and what information Headley can give. That is for the intelligence officers and experts to provide you.
Right. And as far as the trade relations are concerned, it has been a lingering concern of the Republicans, particularly President Trump, that all the trade imbalances that work against his country must be evened out, be it with China or India or any other country. At the same time, the protectionism that comes with it, because he wants to put punitive tariffs against wherever he finds this trade imbalance against that country. But at the same time, in our country, we have very influential forces or pressure groups like the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, who wouldn't like to have anything to do with foreign investment, especially when it is a direct investment. So, how do we balance these concerns? Is the concern of India the same as that of some of these activist groups? That, all right, we would put such, we will make foreign goods so uncompetitive that only Indian goods can sell in India.
Well, I think let's try and understand this position from
Mhm.
American perspective and Indian perspective.
Right.
Uh, I will not go into what particular NGOs or societies
Hmm.
want or wish. That is not my business. My limited uh, agenda here and now is to try and understand what Indian government's viewpoint is and what US government may wish from its side. US
Right.
government has an issue, Mr. Trump in particular, that US goods are not getting fair treatment. By that, he means that US goods are being charged a high tariff. And he's gone so far as to put this block of countries, with India included, as saying that India is the kings of high tariff. So they have an issue on the percentage charged on American exports to different countries. Now, they may have a point. They may also have a point vis-a-vis trade with India because the trade balance is in our favor to the extent of about $40 billion or so. It varies from year to year. But in comparison to China, $40 billion is literally peanuts because China has
Right.
$500 billion trade surplus with America. So his main focus has been China, but he is also concerned about other countries, including India. That
Right.
is his point of view. And he may be
Right.
very right on that. But from the Indian viewpoint, the issue is that you cannot have across the board increase in tariffs because Indian tariffs, for example, if it is peanuts or almonds or shoes or whatever, are not only directed against America, but also have a relationship with regard to imports from other countries, and
Right.
in particular
Universally
China.
applied to all imports.
May I complete?
Yeah, sure.
In particular China, because
Hmm.
we have a concern that China is exporting telecommunication equipment and other equipment which are our critical areas which impact our security. So we would like the tariffs to be in such a way that they do not impact our industry adversely or our security concerns adversely. So we have been trying to explain to America, for example, that it is not the tariffs on these particular items are not directed against you, but in an altogether different direction. So it's a process of diplomacy, it's a process of negotiation where I think Indian government and its officials would be able to explain our position to the American counterparts and come to a via media which takes care of interests of America as well as India.
It's quite a tricky situation, isn't it? Because while on the one hand, we share certain concerns about China with the United States, it's also a fact that in the previous term of Donald Trump, there was a trade war going on between the United States and China, and the whole world, including India, was affected by it. So, how do we strike the right balance? How do we do the tightrope walk?
Well, diplomacy is about tightrope walk, and diplomacy is about solving tricky questions. So this is one of those where we have to talk, talk, and talk till we come to an agreement which is mutually satisfactory.
That's right. And now, right now, we have an Aero India show going on in Bengaluru, and F-35 from the US Air Force is on display, along with its competitors from across the world. Like we have a French display, we have a Russian competition. Do you think it is quite likely? Because for all these years and decades, India has never bought an American warplane. We have got their helicopters, we have got their AWACS, we have got several, for example, night equipment, other intelligence things, but we never bought a fighter aircraft either from Lockheed Martin or from Boeing. Do you think it's likely this time, particularly because India always puts forth this clause of licensed production and technology transfer, which I think the Americans are not very comfortable with?
Well, I don't think we can come to the conclusion that India discriminates against America on fighter aircraft. No, that is not the issue. But here again, India has security concerns. For a long time, there was this real concern that in case of a war, let's say with Pakistan, America may put a stop to the spare part supply or equipment supply for the equipment it has contracted to supply to India or already supplied to India. And that is exactly what happened during the 71 war.
Yes.
Americans stopped the export of whatever they had supplied to India. So that concern was one of the reasons why fighter aircrafts were not considered from America. Now the situation is different, and now it is a level playing field for India and for others who want to do business with India. So let's see how it goes.
And talking about these defense deals, there is also a very piquant US Russia relationship, which went up and down as Democrats and Republicans took turns to govern the United States. And Russia has been a very old and trusted ally of India. And it goes to the credit of Indian diplomacy that even on tricky questions such as our BrahMos deal between India and Russia, or the Triumph S-400 Triumph missile defense system, or other things from Russia that we buy, the military hardware we get, which America does not particularly like. And then again, at a time when sanctions were put on Russia for the conflict in Ukraine, India managed to buy oil and natural gas from Russia. And there again, there were no sanctions against India. Will that continue, or the situation is going to improve even better under Donald Trump?
Well, that's a question you have to put to American experts, because if sanctions are put by America, they would know when and where they will put. But let me get some facts correct. BrahMos was never an issue as far as America was concerned. And the deal was concluded many, many years back when American Russian relations were not on the same level of irritation as they are presently or they were under Biden. As far as S-400 is concerned, yes, Americans did not particularly like that deal going through. But the very fact that they did not object or did not uh, raise the temperatures in Indo-American relations is a sign of the strength of Indo-American relations. And the same goes to our purchases of oil and gas on a continuous basis from Russia, despite American sanctions on other countries and other entities with regard to purchase of Russian oil and gas. So that again is symptomatic that Indo-American relations are on a stable and long-term strong grounds.
Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting also with Elon Musk and all the business deals that are likely to come with it. Tesla has had some problem in entering in India. Maybe that can be evened out. And of course, there is one disturbing question for Indians, that is the deportation issue, the way allegedly the deported Indians were treated during their transit. Do you think that issue will be addressed in this meeting?
Well, I can only speculate that this issue would have been raised. And I am reasonably confident that this issue certainly would have been raised because the Indian objection is not to the illegal immigrants being sent back. That is not the Indian objection. The Indian concern was about the manner, about the optics of their being sent back in chains, in shackles and handcuffs and so on. And some of them were women, also young women, who were also treated in the same shabby manner. So that was India's concern, and I'm sure it would have been conveyed to the American side. There are 2 new flights coming in with more illegal immigrants. They're due to land in Amritsar sometime today. And let's see how they were.
And the deals with Musk, because he's also a part not only of a big business conglomerate in the United States, but also in the part he is in a part of DOGE, and we have just heard that U.S. aid into allegedly disruptive activities across the world is being cut drastically.
That is America's business. As far as India is concerned, US aid was insignificant, really. It's just about $100+ million. And that's
but in neighborhood Bangladesh?
Well, what they do with Bangladesh is between them. Our concern is that Bangladesh should not go in the direction of fundamentalism, extremism, and in its treatment of minority Hindus. So that is our concern. What America does with Bangladesh, so long as it is not disruptive of the society there, of democratic society there, democratic processes there, that is our principal issue. And I hope the new administration, Trump administration, is fully aware of that. And in fact, he indicated when he, in answer to a question, he said that is Prime Minister of India who will respond to your question because relations with Bangladesh are best dealt with by him.
Right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Dogra, for these very nuanced takes on diplomacy. And, it's only former diplomats and seasoned diplomats like you who could answer these tricky questions so efficiently. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.